The stapler rattles. Marcel's fist crashes down on Brittany's desk. Are you stupid, Mouse? The entire office freezes. But beneath the desk, a recording device captures every word. And in her drawer, a file labeled Incidents and Observations 18 months sits waiting. Marcel Palmer is about to learn that the quietest person in the office has been the most dangerous all along. Welcome to Mr. Bryan's Tale, where every story takes you on an unforgettable journey. Whether it's thrilling adventures, heartwarming moments, or tales that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, this is your destination for captivating storytelling. If you love getting lost in exciting narratives and discovering new worlds with every video, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on the next amazing tale. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Brittany Vance had perfected the art of being invisible. At 5'2" with mousy brown hair pulled into a perpetual bun, she sat at the reception desk of Bridgeport Capital Management like a piece of furniture, functional, unremarkable, easily overlooked. She spoke in whispers, kept her eyes down, and never, ever made waves. Everyone called her Mouse. Not affectionately. Marcel Palmer started it. The regional manager with his expensive suits and MBA from Wharton treated her like a verbal punching bag. Late coffee? Screaming. Typo in an email? Public humiliation. Client called when he was in a meeting? A 10-minute tirade about her incompetence. The office had learned to look away. Brittany had learned to endure. What they didn't know, Brittany had a photographic memory. And she wrote everything down. In her bottom desk drawer, beneath emergency tampons and sugar-free gum, sat a thick accordion file. Dates. Times. Witnesses. Direct quotes. She'd been documenting every incident for 18 months, every insult, every thrown object, every policy violation. She told herself it was just a coping mechanism. A way to process the daily abuse. She had to keep this job. Her mother's cancer treatments cost $4,000 a month, and insurance only covered half. Quitting wasn't an option. So Brittany absorbed the abuse, updated her documentation, and survived one day at a time. She tried HR once, 6 months ago. Zoe Chin, the HR director, had smiled sympathetically and filed the complaint in what Brittany later realized was the trash can. Marcel's under a lot of pressure, Zoe had said. Try to be more resilient. Brittany learned the system wouldn't save her. But she kept documenting anyway. It was all she had. Patricia's first day. Patricia Mendez arrived on a Monday morning with bright eyes and a portfolio from Cornell. 22 years old, eager, brilliant. The summer internship at Bridgeport was supposed to launch her finance career. Brittany saw the doomed innocence immediately. Marcel circled Patricia like a shark from day one. She was smart, too smart. She asked questions. She offered ideas in meetings. She didn't understand yet that Marcel's ego couldn't tolerate being challenged, even politely. Cornell, huh? Marcel said during Patricia's first week, loud enough for the whole floor to hear. They clearly don't teach you how to make coffee that doesn't taste like garbage. Patricia laughed nervously, unsure if it was a joke. It wasn't. By week 3, Marcel had Patricia reorganizing his files 3 times because the alphabetization was wrong. It wasn't. He critiqued her clothing as unprofessional, when she wore the same level of formality as everyone else. He scheduled meetings and forgot to invite her, then berated her for missing them. Brittany watched it all from her desk. She saw Patricia's smile fade. Saw her arrive earlier, stay later, desperately trying to be good enough. Saw the brightness drain from those Cornell-educated eyes. It was like watching herself 18 months ago. The breaking point came on a Thursday. Marcel needed a report for a client meeting. Patricia had stayed until midnight perfecting it: financial models, graphs, executive summary. She presented it nervously at 8 a.m. Marcel flipped through it for 30 seconds. Then he threw it across the conference room. This is garbage. Did you even go to college? He leaned into her face. You're worthless. Completely. Worthless. Patricia's eyes filled with tears. And something in Brittany Vance broke. 18 months in black and white. That night, Brittany stayed late. The office was dark except for the glow of her desk lamp. She pulled out the accordion file and spread it across her desk like a war map. 18 months of evidence. She'd documented 247 separate incidents. Not just against her, against everyone. 4 assistants who'd quit. Interns who'd left in tears. Junior analysts who'd transferred departments. Marcel's abuse was democratic in its cruelty. But Brittany had something no one else had, the complete picture. She'd noted patterns. Marcel's explosions happened most frequently on Monday mornings, weekend drinking, and after calls with his father, daddy issues. He targeted women more than men, 3-to-1 ratio. He always attacked in public. Humiliation was the point. She had direct quotes. "You're too stupid to work here. I've seen better work from my dog. If you can't handle this, go work at McDonald's where you belong." She had witnesses for each incident. She had emails where Marcel CC'd executives to humiliate subordinates. She had his directive to report 15 minutes early for meetings but mark timesheets as regular hours, wage theft. And then there was the new discovery. While organizing Marcel's expense reports, a task he'd screamed at her to complete, Brittany noticed discrepancies. Dinners for 4 billed as client meetings, on weekends when the office was closed. Hotel rooms in Miami during business trips, that didn't match the calendar. A $3,000 bottle of wine listed as office supplies. Marcel wasn't just abusive. He was stealing. Brittany created a spreadsheet. She cross-referenced credit card statements, calendars, and meeting notes. Conservative estimate, $47,000 in fraudulent expenses over 14 months. She sat back, hands shaking. This was enough. This could end him. The question was, did she have the courage? The janitor sees everything. Kim Rodriguez pushed his cleaning cart past Brittany's desk at 7 p.m., same as always. But tonight he paused. "You stayed late," Kim said. He was in his 60s, invisible in the way maintenance workers always are, present but unseen. "Just finishing some work," Brittany said automatically. Kim glanced at the spread of documents. His weathered face showed recognition. "That about Palmer?" Brittany tensed. "I don't know what you—" "I've worked here 19 years," Kim interrupted gently. "I empty the trash cans. I see the crumpled resumes of people who quit. I hear the crying in the bathrooms." He met her eyes. "I've watched him destroy good people. And I've watched you write it all down." Brittany's heart pounded. "You think you're alone in this," Kim continued. "You're not. I've been keeping my own notes. Dates I've found people crying. Times I've had to clean up after Palmer threw things. I've got video footage from the hallway cameras showing him blocking people from leaving his office during tirades." "Why haven't you said anything?" Brittany whispered. Kim smiled sadly. "Who listens to the janitor? But they might listen to the receptionist with 18 months of documentation." He pulled a flash drive from his pocket. "Security footage. 5 months' worth. Copies I made before they get auto-deleted." He set it on her desk. "Whatever you're planning, I'm with you." Brittany stared at the flash drive. She wasn't alone. "There's something else," Kim added. "HR Director Chin? I've emptied her trash for years. Every harassment complaint about Palmer goes straight in the bin. She's complicit. You can't go through her." "Then who?" Brittany asked. "The top. CEO Whitmore. Board of Directors. Go nuclear or don't go at all. Quiet doesn't mean defeated." Friday afternoon. Patricia sat at her desk, hands trembling as she typed her resignation letter. Brittany could see it from reception, the defeated slump of her shoulders, the tear stains on her collar. 2 months. That's all it took for Marcel to break a Cornell graduate. Brittany thought about her mother. The medical bills. The job she needed to keep. The risk of being blacklisted if this backfired. Every logical reason to stay quiet screamed in her mind. Then Patricia stood up, resignation letter in hand, and walked toward Marcel's office. Brittany moved without thinking. She intercepted Patricia at the hallway. "Wait." Patricia looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "I wake up nauseous. I'm having panic attacks. This job is killing me." "I know," Brittany said softly. "He did the same thing to me. To everyone. Then why do you stay?" It was the question Brittany had been asking herself for 18 months. The question that had kept her silent, compliant, invisible. But looking at Patricia's broken expression, Brittany finally had an answer. "I stayed because I was gathering evidence," she said, surprised by the strength in her own voice. "And now I have enough to end him." Patricia's eyes widened. "What?" "Don't resign. Not yet. Give me 1 week." Brittany's hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "I'm going to make sure Marcel Palmer never destroys another person again." That night, Brittany drafted an email. To CEO Richard Whitmore. CC, Board of Directors. Subject, Formal Complaint Regional Manager Marcel Palmer Harassment, Fraud, Hostile Work Environment. She attached 247 pages of documentation. Her finger hovered over Send. Then she clicked it. Monday morning reckoning. Monday, 8:47 a.m. Brittany arrived at her desk to find Marcel already waiting, his face purple with rage. He held a printed copy of her email. Somehow he'd been CC'd by someone on the board. "You," he snarled, advancing toward her desk. "You disloyal little rat. I made you. I gave you this job when no one else would hire you." The office froze. Everyone watched. Brittany stood up slowly. She was a foot shorter than Marcel, but she didn't step back. Her voice was quiet but clear. "You abused me for 18 months. You abused everyone here. I documented it. It's over." "Over?" Marcel laughed viciously. "You think some pathetic little complaint is going to—" "It's not just a complaint," Brittany interrupted. Something had shifted in her. 18 months of fear were burning away. "I have 247 documented incidents. Video footage. Witness statements. And evidence of $47,000 in expense fraud." Marcel went pale. "You accessed my expense reports? That's confidential." "That's part of my job duties that you assigned me," Brittany said calmly. "I was organizing your files, remember? You screamed at me to do it." The elevator dinged. 3 people in suits stepped out, corporate investigators from headquarters. The lead investigator approached Marcel. "Mr. Palmer, we need you to come with us. You're suspended pending investigation." "This is insane," Marcel shouted. "I have rights. I'll sue. I'll destroy her career. Mr. Palmer, you can cooperate, or we can involve security." The investigator's tone was ice. Marcel turned to Brittany, his expression venomous. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life, Mouse." But Brittany didn't flinch. "No, Marcel. You did. 18 months ago. The flood of truth." The investigation lasted 8 days. Investigators interviewed 32 employees. What they found shocked even Brittany. Patricia came forward first, her testimony raw and detailed. Then Miguel from accounting revealed Marcel had forced him to falsify reports. Sarah from sales disclosed Marcel had touched her inappropriately at the holiday party and threatened her job when she objected. The 4 former assistants who'd quit all agreed to testify. They'd left broken, thinking they were the problem. Now they understood, Marcel was a serial abuser. Kim provided security footage showing Marcel trapping a junior analyst in his office during a 45-minute screaming session. The analyst was visibly trying to leave. Marcel physically blocked the door. Even Zoe Chen's negligence became clear. Investigators found 16 formal complaints about Marcel in her files. Not one had been escalated. She'd actively suppressed evidence to protect a high performer. Marcel's expense fraud was confirmed. $52,000 over 18 months. Luxury dinners, hotels, Even a weekend trip to Vegas billed as client development, with clients who didn't exist. His attorney tried to paint Brittany as a disgruntled employee with an axe to grind, but the documentation was irrefutable. Dates, times, witnesses, video, patterns. On day 9, the board of directors convened an emergency meeting. Marcel Palmer was terminated for cause. No severance. No references. His professional reputation was destroyed before lunch. Zoe Chen was demoted to HR associate and placed on probation. CEO Whitmore called an all-staff meeting. "What happened here was unacceptable," he said, his voice heavy. "We failed you. We allowed a culture of fear and silence. That ends today. New policies, mandatory harassment training, anonymous reporting systems, third-party investigators for all complaints." And then Whitmore looked directly at Brittany. "We owe you an apology. And a debt of gratitude." Finding her voice, the office erupted in applause when Brittany returned to her desk. People she'd barely spoken to hugged her. Patricia sobbed into her shoulder, whispering, "Thank you," over and over. Sarah from sales brought flowers. Miguel from accounting brought coffee. Kim the janitor gave her a thumbs up and his warmest smile. She wasn't invisible anymore. She was a hero. 2 days later, CEO Whitmore called Brittany to his office. She expected a handshake, maybe a gift card. Instead, he offered her a job. "We're creating a new position, HR compliance officer," Whitmore said. "Someone to ensure this never happens again. Someone employees can trust. Someone who understands what it's like to be powerless, and who found the strength to fight back anyway." The salary was double her current pay. Enough to cover her mother's treatments and more. "We need someone like you," Whitmore continued. "Someone who sees everything. Someone who documents, who cares, who won't be silenced." Brittany thought about the mouse she'd been, scared, silent, surviving. And she thought about the woman she'd become, brave, strategic, empowered. "I accept," she said. "On one condition, Patricia gets a full-time position after her internship. She deserves it." Whitmore smiled. "Done." As Brittany walked back through the office, she passed her old reception desk. Someone had left a note. "Thank you for being brave enough for all of us." She realized then, she hadn't just destroyed Marcel's reputation. She'd found her own voice. The quietest person in the office had roared the loudest, not through volume, but through truth. Quiet didn't mean defeated. It meant she'd been listening, watching, preparing. And when the moment came, she'd been ready. The ripple effect. 3 months later, Brittany sat in her new office. Actual walls, a door that closed, a nameplate that read, "B. Vance, HR Compliance Officer." Marcel Palmer's fall had been spectacular and public. Word spread through the industry. His LinkedIn was flooded with former employees sharing their stories. A business journal ran an exposé. How one receptionist took down a corporate bully. Marcel's name became synonymous with workplace toxicity. He tried to get hired at 3 competitor firms. All rejected him. His reputation was permanently destroyed, exactly as he'd threatened to do to Brittany. The irony wasn't lost on her. Patricia thrived. With Marcel gone, her brilliance shone. She'd already impressed 2 VPs with her financial models. She stopped by Brittany's office weekly, now a friend rather than a victim they'd both escaped. Kim retired that spring. At his farewell party, he pulled Brittany aside. "You know what you did," he said. "You showed everyone that power doesn't come from how loud you are. It comes from what you know, and when you choose to use it." The culture at Bridgeport shifted. People reported problems. HR actually investigated. The anonymous tip line received serious attention. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. Brittany kept a photo on her desk, her old accordion file, the one labeled "Incidents and Observations 18 months." A reminder that documentation mattered. That quiet observation was power. That survival could become justice if you were patient enough, brave enough. She'd been called Mouse for 18 months. A name meant to diminish her, to keep her small and scared and silent. But mice, Brittany had learned, were survivors. They were clever. They paid attention. And when cornered, they could bite back. Brittany, the mouse, Vance endures 18 months of daily abuse from regional manager Marcel Palmer while secretly documenting every incident. When young intern Patricia becomes Marcel's newest victim, Brittany finally acts, using her meticulous evidence, plus support from janitor Kim and testimony from multiple employees, to expose not only harassment but $52,000 in expense fraud. Her complaint to corporate headquarters triggers an investigation that destroys Marcel's career, reforms company culture, and transforms Brittany from invisible receptionist to empowered HR compliance officer. The story proves that quiet observation and strategic patience can be more powerful than loud confrontation, and that one person's courage to speak up can protect countless others. Thank you for joining us in this Brittany story. If this story moved you, kindly comment, like and subscribe to our channel Mr. Brian's Tale. Trust me, we go to the moon to get you the best stories. Say you unto the next. Love and peace.